Welcome to the Stella Performance Overview video, Trend Data. This video will cover the trend data available in Stella Performance, also called Stella P. This video will not cover the performance measures in detail. For more information on each performance measure, please see the Stella Performance Overview series, modules 1 through 5. Stella P includes 3-year trends for the key performance measures: days homeless, exits, and returns. Users can access trend data from the dashboard trend page in Stella P, as well as the overview page for each performance measure. Trend data can be viewed for official and local LSA datasets. The reporting year for official LSA datasets is October 1st through September 30th. Users can specify different reporting periods for local datasets, but trends are most meaningful when examining a 12-month report period. The trend charts have some limitations when viewing local LSA datasets, which we'll address in this demonstration. We're using de-identified sample COC data for this demonstration, shared with permission from the COC. When we open up Stella P, we are on the Dashboard Overview page, so we'll click over to the Dashboard Trend page. Stella P includes 3-year trend data for the exits and returns performance measures for all LSA datasets, since each LSA dataset includes the look-back data needed to calculate these measures. However, 3-year trend data for days homeless are only available for official LSA datasets, and therefore is only available for the years in which the COC has televised official datasets. For example, if a COC has a 2019 and 2020 televised LSA data, but has not televised 2018 data, the days homeless trend chart would only include the days homeless data for 2019 and 2020, though it would include the exits and returns trends for all 3 years. In this COC, we're looking at 3 years of official LSA submission data. When looking at trend data in Stella P, it's important to consider how changes in data quality and participation from year to year may impact the performance data and interpretation of trends. The first chart on this page is Households with Days Homeless trend. For each reporting year, this chart shows the number of households that had at least one day in emergency shelter, safe haven, transitional or rapid rehousing projects, or at least one day in permanent supportive housing projects prior to move-in. While this data is helpful to understand how many people the system is serving over the course of a year, it's important to view this in context of other local data sources, such as point-in-time count and coordinated entry system data, to get a comprehensive view of the prevalence of homelessness in the community. In this example, we see that there was an increase in the number of households with days homeless between 2018 and 2019, and a decrease between 2019 and 2020. Since the LSA reflects people served by projects, increases and decreases could reflect changes in project capacity versus changes in the number of households experiencing homelessness. For example, the decrease in 2020 could reflect reduced shelter capacity associated with COVID-19 decompression, and there may have been an increase in unsheltered homelessness as a result, which would not be reflected in the LSA data. Next, we have days homeless trend by household type, a line chart that displays how long, on average, households experience homelessness in each reporting year. The chart shows the average cumulative unduplicated number of days that households were served in emergency shelter, safe haven, or transitional housing projects, and days in rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing projects prior to move-in, including continuous time in these projects prior to each report period back to October 1st, 2012. Periods of less than 7 days between project enrollments are not considered a break in the continuity of homelessness and are included within the count of days homeless. Days homeless reported in these charts does not include self-reported time homeless. The dashed line shows the trend for all households, and the solid lines show the trends for each household type. When you hover over the chart, You can see the details for each year. For a focused view, you can toggle on or off the lines by clicking on the legend. In this sample, we see a moderate upward trend in the average number of days for all households and a sharper upward trend for the adult and child-only households. Using the chart toolbar, you can click on the grid icon to show the tabular view for the chart. The tabular view displays the number of households in each household type as well as the average days homeless in each reporting year. In this example, we see a big increase in days homeless for child-only households. However, notice there are few child-only households in the system. Please keep data limitations in mind when interpreting and using Stella P analysis. You can click on the chart icon to get back to the chart view. Next, we have exits to permanent destination trends. These charts show whether annual exits to permanent housing have increased, decreased, or stayed the same over the past 3 years. The first set of charts shows 3 rings. Each ring represents the universe of households that exited the homeless system during the report period, shown in the center of the ring. The percent of households that exited to permanent destinations is shown below each ring and represented by the green subsection of the ring. The percent in number of households who exited to permanent destinations is displayed in hover text. The line chart below shows 3-year trends for all households with the dashed line and for each household type with the solid lines. As with Day's Homeless Trend Chart, viewers can toggle on or off the lines for a focused view and hover over the chart for data details. In this example, we see the exits to permanent destinations for adult and child households trending slightly upward in contrast to the exits to permanent destinations for adult-only households trending slightly downward. Finally, we have returns to the homeless system trends. The first chart shows 3 rings. Each green ring represents the universe of households that exited to a permanent destination within the reporting period. The red segment on the outside of the ring represents the percent of those who exited to permanent destinations who later returned to the homeless system within 6 months of exiting. The 3 rings provide a side-by-side comparison of the percent of returns in the past 3 reporting years. For the most recent year, the exit cohort is households that exited within the first 6 months of the report period. The previous year's exit cohorts include returns data for households that exited to permanent destinations throughout the entire 12-month report period. For all 3 exit cohorts, the returns to the homeless system trend chart shows the households that returned to the homeless system within 6 months of exiting to a permanent destination. The returns to the homeless system trend line chart shows the 6-month return trends for all households and for each household type for each of the exit cohorts. Households that exited in the first half of the current report period, households that exited in the year before the current report period, and households that exited in the year before that one. Just as with the exit charts, you can see the data details when you hover over the chart. You can toggle off the household types for a more focused view. In the Returns Overview section of Stella P, there is an additional Returns to the Homeless System trend chart. Starting on the left, we have the cohort of households that exited between 12 and 24 months prior to the current report period. For these households, we have 6, 12, and 24-month returns, represented by the blue dots. When you hover over the chart, you can see the percent of returns. The next cohort is households that exited in the 12 months prior to the current report period, which includes 6-month and 12-month returns. The medium blue line shows the 12-month returns trend for these 2 cohorts. Finally, we have the cohort of households that exited in the first 6 months of the current report period, for which we only have 6-month returns data. The dark blue line is the trend line for 6-month returns. This trend chart has filters for household type, population group, and destination types. Whereas the other returns trend charts show only returns after exits to permanent destinations, this chart defaults to a view of returns after exits to all destination types. This concludes the Stella Performance Trends Data webinar. For more Stella resources, please visit the HUD Exchange Stella landing page or submit a question to the AAQ desk with the topic HDX. Thank you.